Alrighty, good morning everybody. Welcome to Circle Time. I hope you guys are all having, let me not do that. There we go. Sorry, I have something stuck on my screen and I thought I could get rid of it, but then it wanted me to end my live stream and that would be bad. So, good morning. Welcome to Circle Time. As always, we're going to hang for just a couple minutes, give everybody a chance to get here. And then me hitting my elbow on the table isn't helping today. I hope everybody's having a really, really good day. We're going to have some fun here this morning, as always. I have some books we're going to read, some rhymes, and I have a song that we're going to sing that has some motions in it. So we'll get up and get moving a little bit this morning. And as always, I have a really fun craft to do. So we're going to do that all today, as usual. So like I said, I'm just going to wait a couple seconds, give everybody a chance to get here. I hope you all are having a good morning. I can see the comments, just as a reminder. So if you want to say hi, let me know who's here. I would love to know. I'm just going to hang out for another second or two. We'll have to see today. I was just going to say, we'll have to see if my kitty cat makes an appearance, and guess who's here to say hi. And she's going to make the camera move all over the place. But look who's here. Oh, no, she doesn't want to come over this way. Now she's trying to eat my craft. I have my craft all set up for after we're done, and she's trying to eat it. That's no good. We can't make a craft if my cat eats it. She's a really silly kitty. She may come back around, and if she comes back, I'll see if we can introduce her again. You guys have probably seen her before. That was Cora. So we're just going to hang for just another second or two, give a couple people a chance to get here, and then we'll get started. So I hope you guys all had a good weekend. The weather was super, super nice this weekend. Maybe you got a chance to go outside. Maybe you got a chance to see some flowers. That's what I did this weekend. There's a place near me where you could go in your car and you could drive through their fields and see all of their flowers. And it was so pretty. And it was really nice to get outside, but still be able to be safe and be able to stay healthy. So it was really nice. I hope you guys all did something fun yourselves this weekend. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully a couple more people will join in as we go. So let's start off with our first book today. Our first book is called, Ned the Knitting Pirate. Have you ever met a pirate who knits? Have you ever met a pirate? I don't know that I've ever met a pirate. So this is Ned the Knitting Pirate by Diana Murray and illustrated by Leslie Lamel. Oh my goodness, look at that dragon asleep under the ocean. Very cool. All right. Listen to the legend of the crew that sailed the deep aboard a tattered pirate ship they called the Rusty Heap. The pirates were a rugged lot, as fierce as they were strong. And as they swabbed the deck one day, they sang this pirate song. We're pirates, out sailing the sea. So scruffy and scrappy and happy are we. We're tougher than gristle and barnacle grit. We heave and we hoe and we swab and we knit. The whole crew turned and stared at Ned. The ship was deadly quiet. Yar, said Ned. I likes to knit. You might be too if you try it. The captain stomped his wooden leg. I won't be hearing that. A scurvy pirate doesn't knit nor wear a fuzzy hat. They sailed onto an island where the crew began to dig. And when they found a treasure chest, they sang and danced a jig. We're pirates, out sailing the sea. We do what we likes and we likes to be free. We ain't scared of nothing, not one little bit. We heave and we hoe and we dig and we knit. The crew was in stitches, but the captain's nerves were frayed. Yar, said Ned, I likes to knit. This hat can be custom made. The captain shook his golden hook. I won't be hearing that. A scurvy pirate doesn't knit, nor wear a fuzzy hat. The pirate brought the chest aboard and counted each doubloon, then cooked a batch of squid ink soup and sang another tune. We're pirates out sailing the sea, as scary and hairy as any could be. We're grouchy and slouchy, we don't ever quit. We slurp and we burp and we gulp and we knit. The captain got so mad he turned as red as lobster stew. Yar, said Ned, I likes to knit, and that be what I do. The captain stomped and shook his hook. I'll not have knitting talk. Ye best not knit another stitch, or down the plank ye'll walk. So Ned went sadly to his bunk and stowed his hat away. He packed his needles, balls of yarn, and skull trim applique. He folded up his blanket with the Jolly Roger crest and stitched it with the knitted scarves, the mittens, and the rest. That night, Ned heard a mighty splash. A chill raced down his back. The captain yelled, "On hands on deck! Prepare for the attack!" And just as Ned had feared, it was the briny ocean beast, who loved to snack on pirate ships, his favorite floating feast. His tentacles were thick with slime, his eyes a ghastly yellow, and cannonballs bounced off his sides as if his skin was jello. Oh my goodness, what a scary sea creature. The hungry beast ripped through the sail and gobbled down a chunk, while Ned raced back to quarters and dragged up his knitting trunk. The captain called, "Avast! There's be no time for knitting, Ned!" But Ned rolled out the catapult. "I've got a plan," he said. Ned's blanket soared into the air and landed with a slap. The beast, did I miss a page? Nope. Okay. The beast was oh so cozy. He could not resist a nap. He yawned a great big yawn and swam back down into his den. Another 100 years would pass before he'd wake again. Oh my goodness, he looked so cozy. Imagine taking a nap for 100 years. Holy moly. The pirates danced aboard the ship and sang, "Yoo-hoo, hooray! 3 cheers for Ned the Knitting Pirate, hero of the day!" And how the pirates fixed the sail? Knit 1, purl 2, repeat. The pirates knitted together until the new sail was complete. The crew aboard the rusty heap went on about their duties while wearing fuzzy hats and scarves and knitted pirate booties. They were still a rugged lot, as fierce as they were strong, and every time they swabbed the deck, they sang this pirate song. We're pirates, out sailing the sea. We do what we likes, and we likes to be free. We're tougher than gristle and barnacle grit. We heave and we hoe and we swab and we... What do? Knit. The end. What a silly book. Miss Emily likes that book because Miss Emily knows how to knit. So I think it's funny that a pirate might want to knit too. So, speaking of yarn, do you guys know where yarn comes from? What yarn is a lot of the times made out of? It's made out of the fleece from sheep. So, why don't we sing a little song called Dancing Sheep? And this has some motions in it. So, and you'll see this song kind of repeats a little bit so you guys can chime in at home, okay? So, this is called Dancing Sheep. Shh, it's time to go to sleep. But into my bedroom, one sheep creeps. "Don't go to bed," the one sheep said. "I would rather dance instead." Soon he was dancing on the ceiling, dancing on the floor. He was dancing on the window, and he was dancing on the door. And he kept on, dancing on the ceiling, dancing on the floor, and dancing on the window, and dancing on the door. "Stop that dancing, silly sheep. It is time to go to sleep." Soon the sheep lay on the floor. Soon the sheep began to snore. So I started dancing on the ceiling, dancing on the floor, dancing on the window, dancing on the door. What do you guys think? Was that fun? You want to do it again real quick? Okay. So we start off, shh, it's time to go to sleep. But into my bedroom one sheep creeps. Don't go to bed, the one sheep said. I would rather dance instead. Soon he was dancing on the ceiling, dancing on the floor, dancing on the window, dancing on the door. He kept on dancing on the ceiling, dancing on the floor, dancing on the window, dancing on the door. Stop that dancing, silly sheep. It's time to go to sleep. Soon the sheep lay on the floor. Soon the sheep began to snore. So I started dancing on the ceiling, dancing on the floor, dancing on the window, and dancing on the door. Oh my goodness, how silly. All right. So since we are talking about sheep a little bit, the next story I'm going to read is called Wolver. And Wolver is kind of a funny looking sheep there, isn't he? So this is Wolver by Leslie Helikowski and pictures by Lee Harper. Wolver, look how many sheep there are. Can you go? We don't have time to count all those sheep. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of sheep. Wolver had a little trouble with the herd today, said Ma. What happened? Asked Pa. I don't want to stand still with the sheep, said Wolver. I ran with the dogs instead. But those dogs are half wild, said Pa. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? They'll run circles around you, said Ma. I know, said Wilbur. Isn't it great? Don't worry, said Grandpa. But Ma and Pa pulled on their wool all night long. Wolver had a little trouble in the shearing barn today, said Ma. What happened? Asked Pa. I don't want to shear my wool, said Wolver. Being woolly feels nice. But it's springtime, said Pa. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? Your wool is so long, said Ma. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? Don't worry, said Grandpa. But Ma and Pa pulled on their wool all night long. Wolver had a little trouble carding wool today, said Ma. What happened? Asked Pa. I carded my own wool, said Wolver. No more tangles. Oh my gosh, look how crazy he looks. But sheep don't card wool on their bodies, said Pa. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? Look, they're trying to put his helmet on him so he can play, and they can't get his helmet on. His fur, his fleece is too fluffy. You look so different, said Ma. I know, said Wilbur. Isn't it great? Don't worry, said Grandpa. But Ma and Pa pulled on their wool all night long. Wolver had a little trouble spinning today, said Ma. What happened? Asked Pa. Oh my goodness. He certainly is having fun with that spinning wheel. I rode around on the spinning wheel, said Wolver. It was fun. But spinning is not supposed to be fun, said Pa. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? Your yarn is all loopy, said Ma. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? Don't worry, said Grandpa. But Ma and Pa pulled on their wool all night long. Wolver had a little trouble dyeing wool today, said Ma. What happened? Asked Pa. Instead of dyeing the yarn, I dyed myself, said Wolver. I like experimenting. You look unbelievable, said Pa. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? It will never wash out, said Ma. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? Don't worry, said Grandpa. But Ma and Pa pulled on their wool all night long. Wolver had a little trouble weaving today, said Ma. What happened? Asked Pa. I put my head in the loom, said Wolver, to weave my forelock. But that's not what you were shown, said Pa. So look, there he is. He's weaving his own hair right into the loom. What a crazy, crazy sheep. But that's not what you were shown, said Pa. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? It's unheard of, said Ma. I know, said Wolver. Isn't it great? And look what he did to his hair with all of the weaving. Oh my goodness. Don't worry, said Grandpa. But Ma and Pa pulled on their wool all night long. Finally, Ma and Pa took Wilbur aside and said, "You must follow the flock, dear. It's what we sheep do. From now on, you will stay with the herd like everyone else. You will shear wool like everyone else. You will card wool like everyone else. You will dye wool like everyone else. And you will weave wool like everyone else." "Oh," said Wilbur. He thought and thought all night long. And he's like tossing and turning in his bed. He's so upset. And from then on, he taught everybody to run with the dogs, to let their wool grow, to card their own wool, to spin crazy yarn, to experiment with color, and to weave their forelocks. Oh my goodness, now they're all having crazy hairstyles. Ma and Pa put their heads in their hooves and sighed. "Wolver does not think like we do," said Ma. "I know," said Pa. "Now everyone looks like Wolver and acts like Wolver," said Ma. "I know," said Pa. "How will we ever find him?" "Don't worry," said Grandpa. And Wolver's starting to knit. So that's a really fun story about just being yourself and being who you are. And I'm going to go back through the book real quick because all of the things that Wolver does in this book is how they get yarn from sheep fleece. So I'm going to show you real quick when they talked about, so first they talk about shearing. So that's when they take some clippers, and just like when you get a haircut, they give the sheep a haircut, and they can take all of the wool off the sheep, and they do it in the springtime. So that way in the summer, the sheep have less hair, so they're nice and cool for the hot weather, and then they grow all their hair back for the winter, so they're nice and cozy. It's kind of like wearing a great big sweater. And then they talk about carding the wool, and that's kind of like brushing the wool. It's like taking two big brushes, and it's how you get all of the knots and the tangles out of the fleece to make it nice and soft and easy to work with. Let's see. And then they talk about spinning. So once you get the yarn all clean and soft, people use spinning wheels to spin the yarn and twist it all up into yarn. And then they were talking about dyeing. Once they have the yarn, you can put it in not like a bathtub like that, but you can put it in containers and have it be dyed all kinds of different colors. And then you can take the colored yarn and you can do things like weaving. So this is a big loom that you can see everybody's weaving little pieces on. And at the end, where did it go? There it is. And just like Ned the Knitting Pirate, you can take yarn and you can knit, which is what it looks like Wilbur's doing. What do you think he's going to knit? Maybe a sweater or a scarf? All right, so let's do one more sheep song. So I don't have little sheep for my fingers today because we're going to do some motions with this one too. But we're going to start off with 5 little sheep. So 5 little sheep on a grassy knoll. One tripped and fell and started to roll. She bounced down the hill and landed in a daze. How many sheep were left to graze? If one fell down the hill, we have 4. 4 little sheep on a grassy knoll. One tripped and fell and started to roll. She bounced down the hill and landed in a daze. How many sheep are left to graze? If we had 4 and another one fell down, we have 3. 3 little sheep on a grassy knoll. One tripped and fell and started to roll. She bounced down the hill and landed in a daze. How many sheep are left to graze? So if we had 3 and another one fell down, we're down to 2. So 2 little sheep on a grassy knoll. One tripped and fell and started to roll. She bounced down the hill and landed in a daze. How many sheep are left to graze? Another one fell down the hill, so we're down to one little sheep. So one little sheep on a grassy knoll. She tripped and fell and started to roll. She bounced down the hill and landed in a daze. How many sheep are left to graze? If they all fell down the hill, who's left on top of the hill? Nobody. All the sheep fell down the hill. Silly sheep. Hopefully they still had all of their fleece so that they landed nice and soft. Okay, so that's it for my songs and my stories. Are you guys ready to do a craft today? All right, what kind of craft do you think we're going to do? I've been talking a lot about sheep. You think maybe we're going to do a sheep craft today? That's exactly what we're going to do. So let me move over. Let me move my camera around so you guys can see the table. There we go. That should work. Okay. So for this craft, you're going to need some cupcake papers. I do have white cupcake papers today. If you want to be silly and crazy and creative and use different colors, you can totally use different colors for your project. A pencil and some markers or crayons, whatever you like to use, will be handy. A pair of scissors, so have your grown-ups help for cutting scissors. Glue stick, or really like regular Elmer's glue would be good for this, but I don't have any, so I made it work with my glue stick. But if you have some regular glue, or maybe even some, if your grown-up can help you with a hot glue gun, that might work out pretty well. I have some black and white paper, or if you don't have black and white paper, you can use just white paper and you can color things in. This is just a little scrap that we're going to use. And if you have a hole punch, that would be really handy. I actually happen to have two, but if you don't have a hole punch because you have your scissors, you can just cut it out. But I'm going to show you, okay? And the last thing that you're going to need, let me get them out of the bag, is some cotton balls, okay? So let me bring my craft over here. I'll turn it around so you guys can see it. And look, I made a cute little sheep. So do you guys want to make a little sheep like this too? Cool. I will show you how. So we're going to start off. Let's see. I'll put him over here so you can still see him and he can watch. So I have 3 cupcake liners that I'm going to take them, and just like we did the other time when we used cupcakes liners and we flattened them out, we're going to flatten all 3 of them out. Make them flat, and then we're going to fold them in half. And then we're going to turn it and we're going to fold it in half again. And then if you can give it one more fold. And this is where you may need your grown-ups help to help cut this, because when you cut them all together, it gets a little bit hard to cut. Or you can do each cupcake liner by itself. So you can just do 1 and then number 2 and then number 3 and then put them all back together, okay? So I'm just going to cut kind of here, I'll draw it so you guys can see. I'm just going to cut a shape off the top of this so that it looks kind of rounded like that. Can you guys see? I'm going to cut it like that, okay? So you guys can draw it if you want. You can just freehand it if you're creative. And like I said, this can be really hard to cut, so make sure you have your grown-ups help for this. It's a little tough, but I did it. So you see I made, almost kind of looks like an ice cream cone shape, doesn't it? But you'll see what happens when I open them back up. We have a really neat shape. So if you didn't want to make a sheep, you could make flowers. These kind of look like flowers. So what we're going to do now, we have our 3 cupcake papers all cut out. So now we're going to take our glue, and in the middle of 1 cupcake paper, we're going to put some glue. And we're going to take the other another cupcake paper and put it on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to line it up. So you see how I have like 2 hills and then a little indent. I'm going to take another hill from this one and I'm going to line it up over the indent. So that way it looks, see how now it looks kind of like frilly. So give it a good press, make sure it's going to stick. Put a little bit more glue. And we're going to take another one and we're going to put it on top. And you can line it up however you like. to make it even extra frilly. So now we have a really frilly piece for our sheep. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my paper, and I'm doing this on white paper. If you have maybe blue paper or green paper or some other kind of crazy color paper, whatever you like, you can do this on any color paper, but I'm going to do it on white for today. I'm going to take my glue again, put some glue on the back of my cupcakes papers, and I'm going to stick it to my piece of paper. So see, doesn't that kind of look like a flower? If you guys didn't want to make sheep, you could totally make a flower out of this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I have great big cotton balls, so I'm going to take just one big one. If you guys have smaller cotton balls, you can take smaller ones. I don't really want to rip it into pieces, but I'm going to gently pull it so that it kind of gets all fluffy and it takes up more space. So see how I kind of pulled it out? It used to look like that, and now it looks like this. So you guys can do that. And it just doesn't make as much mess if you don't pull it into pieces, if you just pull it very gently. Okay, so now I have all my wool. So now I'm going to come back to my flowers. I'm going to put some glue in the middle. I'm going to kind of branch out a little bit because I really want this to stick. So now I'm going to take all my wool that I pulled out, and I'm going to squish it down in my paper cups, in my cupcake papers. So now my cupcake papers are all fuzzy. So now we just need some details on the sheep. So what I did was I drew, and it may be really hard to see because I have another one here ready to go. I drew it on black paper. Again, you could do it on white paper and color it in. You could maybe even make a spotted sheep. I've seen sheep that have spots and are different colors. So you guys may not be able to see that. I can't. Oh, you may be able to. With a pencil, I kind of drew what I wanted my sheep head to look like. Oops, I'm going to put my cap on my glue so it doesn't dry out. So I'm going to real quick cut out a sheep head. So you guys can watch me cut out my sheep head real quick, and you can see, if you couldn't see the lines before, you'll be able to see what kind of shape I'm going to cut out. I can see the lines because I'm up close. So I'm going to go like that. So then I have, I'm going to start here and cut here. And again, have your grown-ups help with the scissors if you need it. Make sure your grown-up knows that you're using the scissors. Be very, very careful so you don't cut anything but the paper. Oh no. We're going to come around one more cut. I'm going to cut all the way up. Oops, I didn't cut far enough. And a little bit more on this side, come on. There we go. So now I have a sheep head. So what we can do now is we're back to our glue. Stick some glue on the back on our sheep head. And then we can glue it. Oops, there we go. We can glue it right on to our cotton. So now I made some eyes for my sheep. So this is where, if you have a hole punch, or I actually have hole punches in different sizes here. So this is a big hole punch. I can punch 1, 2, and I got to get them out. Come out. There they are. 1, 2. And then out of the black, see, and this is really cool. I forgot that I had these, and I just found them this morning. My hole punches. So now I have another hole punch, and this one actually makes smaller holes. So you guys probably won't have a little hole punch like this. There we go. Can you guys see them? They are so tiny. If you guys don't have hole punches, you can totally take scissors and cut out pieces for the eyes. That will work just as well. You can even make your sheep a little bit bigger so you don't have to have such small pieces. So I just put a little bit of glue on. So I'm going to put one eyeball on. And then I'm going to do the same with the other one. And be careful, this is kind of messy. You're going to get some glue on your fingers. So when we're all done, we'll have to make sure we go and wash our hands. Come on. Oh, it's stuck. It's trying to stick to me. Crazy eyeball. All right, so there we go. So we got our the white part of the eyeballs on. So now I'm going to take my black ones. And if you don't want to cut out little teeny tiny pieces of black, you can always take a marker and you could draw the eyeballs in. You could give them color eyes. I bet you sheep have lots of different color eyes. I've never looked at sheep's eyes too much. I was always looking at their fur because they're all kinds of curly and they come in all kinds of colors and they're really pretty. So I'm going to stick a black piece right in there. There's one. So you guys will probably want to just color in your eyeballs. This is kind of tricky to do with such small little tiny pieces. There's another one. And I'm going to stick it on. Ah. And there we go. Almost. Okay. Ah. These eyeballs do not want to stick to the paper. They want to stick to me. So let's try it this way. There we go. Maybe I had it upside down. Silly Miss Emily. Trying to put an eyeball on upside down. So there we go. So now, the sheep is missing one more thing. What do you think he's missing? Maybe some legs. So legs are super easy. I'm just going to cut like a rectangle. Let's make it a little bit more even. And I'm just going to cut two rectangles. So there's one. There's two. Again, some glue. And you can kind of tuck it up underneath and give it a push. And we're going to do the same thing for the other one. And tuck it up underneath and give it a push. Oops. There we go. And now we have two really fluffy, happy sheep. So now here's where the markers come in. If you guys want to draw a picture around your sheep, that would be really fun. I have a piece of fluff there that I accidentally glued to the piece of paper. So like I have a green marker, you could draw grass, you could draw a sky, you could draw some birds in the sky. Let's see if I can do this upside down. What do you think? Does that kind of look like a bird flying in the sky? Maybe not so much. It's kind of hard to draw upside down. You can draw little flowers in the grass. Whatever you guys want to do, you could do. And you can make a really fun picture with your fluffy woolly sheep. Just want to real quick do like that. So you can color them in. You can make a really pretty picture. Okay. So that is it. If you guys make some really fluffy sheep and want to show me, please post them in the comments. This video will be up on our Facebook page. I would love to see your sheep. I really, really love sheep. Okay, so let me just take my camera, get that back up there. There I am. All right. So thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out and playing with me today. I hope you enjoyed all of our songs and our stories and our craft. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.